I think the Tinderbox is an amazing fusion of different media. We involve puppetry, performance, animation and music in a really kind of inventive way, which kind of, each element really supports the other. It's a kind of exciting exploration of the way in which these different media meet. So we've got like acting and puppetry in some of the puppets, so they're combined. We've got animated sequences, so two-dimensional sequences and three-dimensional sequences. It's a really kind of exciting and dynamic mix. We start it with a witch, and the witch meets a soldier, and she tempts the soldier to go down inside a tree into the underworld in order to fetch her tinderbox. Little does the soldier know that the tinderbox is of great value and is also magical, but when he goes down into the tree he meets three fantastical dogs who give him lots of money, silver, gold and copper, and he then goes off into the city after having beheaded the witch. When in the city, of course, he spends all his money, and he falls in love with a beautiful princess who is kept imprisoned by her parents in a copper castle. And so the only way that he can get to see her is by sending the dogs to collect her in the night and then taking her back to her bed.
This is the princess. So she lives in the city in the copper castle, but then her parents try to keep her safe. They don't want her to marry a soldier, so she gets stuffed inside a copper kettle, and that's why she's got this very malleable body, so that she can get stuffed up, and she eventually goes ah, and she gets stuffed into a kettle. So she's really lovely to play with because she's really got all this kind of expression of this beautiful dress, but at the same time she can get really small and get tucked away.
And the soldier's also a rod puppet. But he's very much more solid. He's got legs and he has a little marching action.
He's actually made out of a money box. So, because he's constantly trying to get money, I mean, there's some money in him, you see. So during the show, the money does actually go into him. And then his hat, of course, that's a half-pint measuring pot. So he's made of bits of everything that he's found along his journey to get him to where he is now. He's an adventuring, kind of fairly amoral character who gets what he wants by being quite ruthless, and then he loses everything and then he gains it all again. So it's quite a morally ambiguous story about money and love.
I was really interested in the elemental parts of it. The fact that we start in the forest where it's very natural and there are natural elements like wood and stone, and we also used salt as well. That was very associated with the witch and her world. And then there was the city and the soldier, and that was very much about metal, and so we incorporated lots of sort of metal objects and things into developing the puppets. So the puppets have all got like metal hats or metal things on their heads, and all of the cityscape is made out of sort of metal type objects. And this all came out of a period of research and development that we did to actually think about how we would actually interpret the story with the different elements.
This scene is where the soldier goes from the wood where he met the witch to find his fortune in the city. He's just got the money off the dogs. He's absolutely full of money. He's got all his gold coins, and off he goes. And when he gets to the city, he's going to spend it all. So we start off in the watercolour forest that Andersen has created, and he goes up the road and over the brow of the hill, and we see a city in the distance. And the city is made of things like cheese graters and jugs and candlesticks,
teapots.
Yeah. Lots of just things you'd find in the kitchen, really, or in your china cupboard, but made of metal. So when he gets to the city made of metal, which reflects the metal in his pocket, he's moved from nature into a place where money counts. And when he gets to this metal city, he's going to find that lots of people are interested in him because of his money, and he is going to spend it all and become poor again. At which point the metal city becomes a rather unpleasant environment.
I worked with Phil, who created the soundscape right from the very beginning. I mean, he's been really very present throughout the development and also the rehearsal period. I wanted it to be like a proper film, almost like a film soundtrack, and Phil was very interested in that as well, that it wasn't, yeah, there was some musical elements to it, but it wasn't like a kind of traditional puppet show, that it was something a little bit more sophisticated.
So to create these environmental sounds, I take a portable sound recorder out with me most of the time, especially for sounds for the forest and the city. And then also to get a kind of metallic hum to the city, we used a Tibetan singing bowl, which creates a very kind of pure metallic tone that's then transformed using software to blend it in with all the other sounds that are involved for the city.
I was very lucky working with a team of people who, you know, right from the very beginning were very clear. We all communicated together about what we wanted.
It's a brand new production. No one's ever done a production of the Tinderbox like this before. It's full of every kind of puppetry that you can think of.
And I just think it's unlike any other show there is, that all the different elements we're combining. I think it's very unusual, and it would be a real shame to miss it.
I think people should come to see the Tinderbox because I think it's a funny and it's a quirky and an interesting experience. I think it's relevant for not just children but also for adults, for family audiences. I think it's an exciting story. It's got a fantastic climax, which I'm not going to tell anybody about. I hope that people will leave the theatre and feel like they've really enjoyed themselves.